It's like that sequin shirt that I have that has the reversible sequins on the chest.
Yep.
And it's NASA, right? So like even the guys are like, oh my god, I wanna don't touch.
And you're just like, that's funny. I mean, don't touch. So, welcome to the Northern Knits Podcast. We are two friends in fibre who knit, crochet, craft, and talk all things in between. This is episode 209. My name is Jocelyn. My co-host is
Diana.
I currently call Winnipeg, Manitoba home, and Diana calls Waterloo, Ontario home. And it's a Sunday afternoon. We are recording. I have a mug of soup. All is well. Diana's going to let everybody know what we're going to cover this week, and then I'm going to immediately derail her because that is what I do.
Okay, well, the plan that we're about to throw out the window is what's in our cup, woolly workings, wool gathering, and literature.
I just feel we're a really good D&D adventuring party. We make big plans and then do none of them.
Truth.
I was going to work on a project and I didn't even pull it out to start working on it. Gonna have to do that shortly. I'm drinking my soup. All right, shall we start with what's in our cup?
Indeed.
I am drinking some instant cup miso soup, and it's super Jocelyn friendly, and it's super Jocelyn friendly because they had to stick the English on with a sticker.
Thereby implying that it is not made in North America.
I don't think so, but it's good till December 6th, 2021. Because there's a sticker on the back I can read the expiration date on it. No, I think it's the branding type and stuff. Like, we're definitely Japanese. I can't read all the words, but we do have like a Japanese side for ingredients and stuff. We have an English side. So they do mean for this to be sold internationally because there is English, but there's no English on the front, guys. Except for the sticker. And it's got the barcode on it. And whatever that says, that's what I ordered. But I literally looked up the picture on Amazon, and Amazon was great, and they give you the pictures of all the sides of the packaging on a lot of stuff. So I literally flipped to the side with the ingredients list, and I was able to read the ingredients list, which told me what was in it, and it also told me there was no corn in it, so I could order it to try. So I did, and I like it a lot. So I'm drinking some.
Nice.
And of course, I forgot to bring a spoon over, so I'm using a DPN to stir it because, classy.
Of course, yeah. Let's see. Well, today it is approximately cold and very rainy. It's cold in that way that when you get a cold rain and it's windy, it doesn't matter what the actual temperature is. It's just cold and miserable.
I love rainy days, so you are absolutely just,
it's the damp. It's like it's on and off been coming down in sheets, and then it blusters and you can like see the sheets of rain. It's been a damp, miserable looking sort of a day, so I haven't been outside. And because of all this,
inside knitting day.
It is very much a stay inside knitting day, which is what I've been doing. I made myself a cup of hot chocolate, and I even went the extra mile. Ow, that's still very hot. I went the extra mile and I steamed some milk with my espresso machine to put in it. And so it's a very decadent cup of instant hot chocolate.
Sure, why not? I would. Hey, listen, I have some of that almond silk 120 calorie dark chocolate milk in the fridge. If you think for a second that I haven't also been doing my Dutch double chocolate hot chocolate mix and warming that up, you'd be wrong.
Oh my gosh, that sounds intensely chocolate.
So good. So good as I eat my seaweed out of my mug of soup. Listen, you either scoop it up or it's at the bottom of your cup when you're done. That's how it works.
Or you forget that it's in there and choke on it, which is always what I do when I try to drink miso soup.
I endeavor not to choke myself.
I also endeavor not to choke myself, but I rarely succeed.
Oh, that's my plan. On the bright side, we are closer to normal temperatures. So it's only a high of 5 today, Celsius. And we might snow early next week.
How is it that I moved 2,000 kilometers away and I'm getting the same weather? I don't understand. Like the same weather at the same time. We're not in the same climate anymore. Why are we having the same weather?
technically saying climate adjacent. It's fine. It's because I get it first and then it travels to you. We're still in the same country. It's not that different. It's not like you moved to Mother Russia. Like it just. We've talked about what we're drinking. Neither of us are wearing anything woolly today. I was going to, but blue on blue doesn't make any sense. So I suppose that leaves us into the cacophony that is works in progress. Works in progress?
Yep. You first, because you have 17 trillion things and I have 2.
Well, craft more.
I finished a thing.
Yeah, and I mean, I love that you finish things. Just craft more. I'm not saying what you're doing is wrong. I'm just saying do more. All right.
But I don't know. I got nothing.
Hey, I'm in the middle of a row. I love it when I leave projects in the middle of a row.
It's great, isn't it?
Oh, awesome. Do I even know what middle of the row I'm in? Hey. At least it's the main color row, so I'm just purling. It's fine. I'm either purling or knitting, whatever. Guys, I'm working on very slowly making progress on my winter lights shawl. It's going to be super awkward to show because I'm in the middle of a row. My main color is some delightful dark gray Cascade Heritage, in obvious Heritage, so it's fingering weight. And I am working through section 1. My contrast color is this wonderful sort of antique gold harvest wheat color. You can see my super pretty little reindeer. Progress keeper.
It's so good.
I
love the rays of stuff coming out.
Oh, this is so good. So super excited. This is the section of just absolute torture for Jocelyn. I want it to be done so badly, but I'm so slow at it because I really do not want to mess up again. I have 6 more rows to do, and then I'm done the section. So like I'm so close it hurts. And then I'm on to a new section. So I want to do that. I was working on that when there was a hobby time going on, and I started to get distracted because I was listening to the conversation. So I had to put that down and go to something else because I was going to mess up otherwise. The other thing that I was potentially going to work on and then decided I'm not working on right now because I really don't want to drop a stitch is my half moon tea. And what you guys may notice is it's also, well, I mean, it's in the round. It's always in the middle of a row. But it looks like someone's doing her bind off.
Oh, hey.
Oh, hey. There's a bind off happening here. Now, I only did an inch of ribbing. Everybody knows how much I hate ribbing. If you're new and you don't know, I hate ribbing. I hate doing it. It is my most hated thing in knitting. Everybody has a thing they absolutely do not enjoy doing. For me, it is ribbing. And I make garments. I've absolutely lost my mind. In this case, my broken rib looks great. That wasn't what I was going for, but that's what we got. So, fine.
Oh. Design element.
In this busy of a color pattern on an A-frame floaty fingering weight sweater, if you're that close to my personal parts and my butt, you better have bought me dinner. So it's nobody's business. So I am, oh my goodness gracious. What's going on? I don't know anymore. I have one very long body from a sweater that was supposed to be a crop top that I absolutely did not make a crop version of. This is the Half Moon Tea by Dragon Horde Designs. The yarn is Zen Yarn Gardens Cottage Girl, and my color work, yoke at the top is so pretty, is done with a skein of Noble Ruby Designs and her Winter Berries, and the blue is Bennett from Knit Picks. So, that being said, as soon as I'm done the body, I have to take the needle from the body and put it on one sleeve because I have the other sleeve needle already on both sleeves. And then I get to, for fun, split the last of my cake. I need to weigh it and split it. I think I have 70 grams. Anywhere from like just over 50 grams, but I don't think I have 80 grams. I'm somewhere in that 50 to 80 gram range left. I have to split that in half, and then I have to somehow make sleeves out of it because this is all I have left of my second ball. because I was alternating skeins, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to hang on to this is absolute dire emergency, just in case. Like I'm doing my bind off in this one. So whatever's left over after my bind off is in case of emergency shortage. But
You're just pulling. You're really close with that one.
really close with it. I don't like it. I am not a fan. This is not enjoyable for me. I do not like yarn chicken. Love Zen Yarn Garden. Need more of that yarn. But
Thing. Okay, well, so you still working on the bind off, and then you have sleeves on your podcast anniversary thing,
are you done?
and I may have finished yesterday.
Good.
Oh, chair
That's
squeaky
too
sounds.
long.
Ugh.
On time.
Da da da. Wait, no. There we go. That's the front. Ta-da! It's done.
Good. Good. We need to see photos of that on you.
Are the ends woven in? Absolutely not. Is my lifeline from doing sleeve stuff still in here, even though it hasn't needed to be in there for the entire length of the body? Absolutely. Is this hem still rolling like mad because I have absolutely not blocked it yet? Correct. Will it stay in this state until such a time as I want to wear it?
Yes. For the record, when I said photos of you in it, I figured sometime this summer.
Yes. But there it is. It's done.
All right.
I actually did. I did try it on yesterday when I was not wearing a giant bulky sweater because it's cold. Cold. It is cool and damp. And draping it like this is not doing it justice. Like the yellow does actually hit exactly where I wanted. The lace comes down to about hip length, and it's so perfect. And I suppose when I block it, it'll get a little bit longer too.
Yep.
And the bind off is all super stretchy, so it'll flare out a little bit at the bottom. So it's going to be super duper perfect for wearing with that dress that I have. And I'm just really excited. It's done in time for Easter. I'm not going to wear it for Easter. But it's done in time for Easter in Easter colors.
You do know now that you've proven you can finish a mystery knit along and a knit along on time, we're actually going to expect you to, do that.
What?
But
Consistency. Consistently finish things on time?
consistency is key.
Sus.
You don't believe me. Okay. I see how it is.
Oh, I believe you'll expect it of me. I don't promise that I'll deliver.
Oh, I don't. I believe Asa will bring this up at every opportunity to point out that you are quite capable of finishing a cowl on time.
Yes, I know. So now that I can actually hold this lace up properly, let's get that on nice and close to the camera so you can appreciate the rather simple lace that I kept screwing up.
You and simple lace are just a bad combo, dear.
Yep. But I have proven that I can fix drop stitches in lace. So, at least there's that.
At least there's that.
And then that fun color work. Never mind the jog there because that's the seam at the back. And I didn't do anything about that. It's fine. It's in the back.
It's in the back and it's a jog, but if we're honest about it, you don't notice once it's blocked and you're wearing it.
Yeah, no, nobody is going to care.
Nobody's going to care. Nobody. And again, if they do and they haven't bought you dinner, they're too close.
True. So it's done. Oh wait, it's done. I had a test to go in my head. I haven't put a done thing on my head in a very long time.
What?
Ah, there.
There you go.
Ta-da!
There are traditions here, ma'am.
Yes, there are traditions. Whoa, geez. Okay, that's not going to stay up there today.
No. Oh, be grateful you're not here anymore. I've been finishing blankets like crazy. I'm like,
oh my gosh. I just drowned.
It'd be too much blanket. Let's talk about proof of concept.
Okay.
Proof of concept is, as of Wednesday this past week, a full 7 days before the end of the month, I could have been finished 2 socks. So yes, I can knit a pair of socks in a month.
Okay, this is sounding like maybe you don't have a pair of socks though.
Will I be remaking sock 1 for the 3rd time? Yes, I will.
Oh no.
Because the universe hates me. No, I done goofed. It's nobody's fault but my own. But I have a sock. And you're like, Jocelyn, that was great. You were at your heel last week. You're right. Here's that heel I made. I did another garter tab heel. I'm getting better at the garter tab heels. I still really freaking love this heel. The heel fits great. The leg fits great. The foot is too tight across 3 or 4 rows, and it actually digs into my foot and I can't wear it. So I need to rip it back. Now, everybody who knows me knows that if Jocelyn has to rip fingering at a 4mm, I have to commit to redoing the entire thing because I can't see the stitches. When I knit a sock, it's entirely blind because I really can't see the stitches at this size of sock needles. So I'm going to start these again
Oh no.
in like a week when I'm less grumpy at them. Because right now, I'm really mad at them.
Oh no. Oh.
Proof of concept, I can do a pair of socks in a month. It's not actually that hard in amongst other projects. So I don't need to like super hardcore commit. Downside, I'm going to wind that yarn up. I'm going to put away for a little bit so I'm less grumpy with it. And I'm going to cast on a different pair of socks.
That seems good.
Very irritating for me. And I also have the sock challenge coming up on Easter weekend with the Fibre Friends Facebook challenge.
Mhm.
So the Fibre Friends Friday night like knitting group is hosting a design your own sock challenge for Easter weekend. So it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And in those 3 days, you have to challenge yourself to make a pair of socks or do a sock. And it's like do a new heel if you can do a pair of socks. Like if you're like, yeah, I can do a pair of socks in 3 days. The challenge is do a heel you've never done before, do a new pattern, try a different technique, do a new cast on. If you always do cuff down, do toe up, like make it a challenge for you at whatever challenge level you are at in your sock knitting and see how well you do. I do love me an arbitrary challenge. So I think I'm going to see if I can either knit a singular sock in 3 days, which would be for me a challenge, or crochet a sock in 3 days.
Ooh, interesting.
So I have to decide if I want to crochet or knit one. I haven't made up my mind yet. I have picked out the patterns and yarns for both these socks. So whichever one I decide to do, I'll do, but that'll be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and to see how far I can get. But that'll be all I work on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because I'm trying to see how far I can get. I will not make a pair of socks in 3 days. That is not happening. But I might be able to do a sock in 3 days. Like that would be a good challenge for me to see if I could do.
Sounds like a fun challenge, and it's only 3 days long, and I feel like we'll see if I actually remember on Friday that I've said this, but
I can remind you. I'm good for that.
okay. Because I would like to participate in this little challenge.
It's a short,
But
and you know what? If I don't make it, I don't make it. Not the end of the world. I've still made some progress on something, and that's big.
guaranteed if without a reminder, it'll be like halfway through Saturday afternoon, it'll be like, oh yeah.
I was gonna do that.
Well.
I can remind you Thursday night.
Okay.
That way you have, and I'll remind you in text form. So there's no way you can say it went in one ear and out the other. It'll be in print.
Okay. Good.
And it'll be make a note. Tomorrow's Friday. You said you thought you would want. You said you wanted to do the sock challenge. Cast on in the morning. You wake up in the morning. Why did I write cast on? Cast on what?
It's true. If I don't write it down, it doesn't happen.
Sometimes if I don't write things down, they don't happen. You've had to remind me on things. We're not alone. Not alone. All right. Yeah. Next thing I want to talk about is I had to pick up some crochet. I was going crazy. I've been doing too much knitting. There's not enough crochet in my life. So I decided to work on my scrappy blanket a little bit yesterday. A little bit. A lot. I am making a... How did we get here? We got here by Fiberflux. And she is doing she likes to do those big year make-alongs for blankets, which is a great way to do a blanket. Mm-hmm. She crochets and she's doing a giant granny square blanket as one of them. And I like that idea with scraps, but I didn't want to have, when I make blankets, at some point those rows get really long. Really, really long of this one giant granny square. And I knew I would not finish it because I would be like, this row takes an hour. I'm not doing it. But I don't mind seaming terribly much so long as it's not 2.5-inch squares. And I don't, it's the 2.5-inch squares that kill me. And I don't mind too terribly much. Oops, I should not have done that. Working marled yarns, which is 2 yarns held together. So I made a bunch of squares.
Ooh. That is a lot of squares.
It lives in my Jacob's Trading Center ye old rock shop bag. They sell nice rocks. What do you want? I started and I was like, okay, I'm just going to make one of the big squares because I decided I wanted to grid pattern it. So I have a big square, which is like, it's a granny square of 9 rounds. And then I got 2 additional rounds on one end to make it slightly rectangular so that it fits a 3x3 grid of little squares. I'm like, I'll just do one, right? Like it takes me a little bit even to do one. I can watch some news, I can chillax, it'll be fine. I've not been sleeping well this week. So I got this one done.
Nice.
It's just my scrap acrylic, guys. I don't know any names for any of these ball bands. It's going to be a mashup of Burnett, Impeccable, Red Hearts, loops and like it's literally, I have boxes of scraps and it's our boxes of acrylic scraps. So that's what I'm using. So I made one of these, but I wasn't tired. Now this still needs a gray border, and then that gray border will be sewn to another gray border and it'll be fine. I actually have one finished row, but it's hanging out over there so the cat can sleep on it, so it's fine. I'm not pulling it out. And I'm like, okay, I have a little bit left over of this white and green I was holding. So let's make some smaller squares for some grids, because I have a big square next to a grid of small squares, then a big square. And that's going to checkerboard across the bed. So my idea had been to get me a little bit of consistency out of this scrappy project, was to make sure that some of my small square grids had some of the colors from the big squares. So that way it would look like the blankets got, like it was designed to have that kind of flow rather than I literally just used scraps, though I'm literally just using scraps.
Okay.
Creates a color consistency. So I've got some loose freebies of the green and white held together. These are quick. They're only 3 rounds on a 9mm hook with 2 strands of worsted yarn held together. These take no time to make. You're like, woo, I'm done. Okay, next. Gave me a really nice self-satisfied feeling.
Good.
And I crocheted together a couple of the green white squares to some other squares, just so that I could start building those little 3x3 grids, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these will appear in different parts of the blanket, which will tie the green and white together. And then I'm almost on a 9 grid. I've got another 5 more squares to do. Then I've got a 9 grid done.
Okay.
I still wasn't sleeping. It was 5 a.m. at this point, guys. So I started another big square. So someone's got to make me bored enough to go to sleep. By bored enough, I mean just repetitive enough that I get tired and I want to put it down. So I started another big square. So I'm part of the way through a secondary big square. This is
a lot of progress.
From 12 o'clock last night. So it's only 5 hours of work.
That's a lot of progress for only 5 hours.
Crocheting is fast. Like it's really fast. And as you do it, the more often you do it, the quicker you get. And in my case, I'm really quick at granny squares. So I have a fair bit of progress done on what is going to be a queen-sized blanket. So we still have like a lot of work to do. But don't worry. Don't worry for all of you who feel like I wing things. I wrote a pattern on the back of 2 of last year's Cat Facts day calendar sheets. Because
highly organized.
To be organized. And this is my pattern. It is a hand-drawn grid with B and M written on it for big square mini squares. and the grand total of how many of each I need, I think, to finish the blanket, my conservative estimate. So here's the pattern. So this is this is roughly what Diana got when she started working on the King's Flame. This is not much more. Here it is. That's what it is, guys. That's it. If the blanket turns out well and I like it, I will write something up for it, and I'll just post it as a free pattern that anybody can do, because it's just a granny square blanket. But that was what was happening, and I started by I made my project notes, those two little scrap pieces of paper. Then I went to bed and worked on it. I was still working on it at 6 this morning when the weekend radio morning show came on, and I went, oh my God, I hope I go to sleep now. I did. I slept till 2. It was great. I had a full sleep this time.
Nice. Glorious days when you can get full sleeps.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had many of those either this week.
I have nothing but AM stuff this coming week. Cool. That's a thing that's happening. Yikes. Okay, you've got one more thing, and then I got what I'm working on when I'm done drinking my soup here.
All right. So, as you were talking about your granny square blanket, I was 3/4 of the way through a row on the King's Flame when I realized, hey, I was supposed to have changed colors for this row.
Oops.
So I just tinked it back. I should be 2 rows into the black now, but I'm not. I should be doing a lace row, but I just had to take my row back. So I am just about to change to the black and start doing some lace.
I honestly didn't think to remind you to change to black when you said you were going to start the lace pattern. I was just excited.
I've got a big star. Like, I wrote out the notes again in like Diana shorthand as opposed to Jocelyn shorthand. I put a little star, like you have to change colors here. I like added little notes like don't forget to do your repeats of stockinette and garter stitch. And I'm like, yeah, I'm doing it. I'm gonna do the garter stitch. Oh, I forgot to change colors.
Dinner and a show, people. I'm eating dinner and she's the show.
See, the problem is my note that says I need to do a garter stitch row is like a whole 2 little grid squares away from the star that I put in there. Ooh. And so, you know, that's clearly too far away to see my not little star. Actually, it's not a little star.
It's a bit of a beefy star.
I don't know. Anyway, so I'm about to start the lace. Finally, I was so excited. I just got so excited. So once again, this is the Malabrigo Makita in the Diana colorway. I'm about, I think, halfway through this ball now, finally. This ball, you can see it very well on the back, all the little bits that are sticking out. I have got like 6 magic knots in this thing already, and it is not large. I am unimpressed with this skein of yarn. I hope it is just this skein of yarn that I have and that it's not a thing that's across all of the yarn, but we'll see how the other skein is because this one has been literally falling to pieces. And I'm very unimpressed.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's just a 1 skein issue and it's not in both of them because that would really suck.
It's just very annoying when you're knitting along and you just suddenly come to the end of your yarn and it's like, but I still have most of a ball. Why am I at the end?
Yeah, no, that sucks.
Anyway, so I will start the black now. And, you know, do some very simple yarn over knit 2 together lace and screw it up. And you'll hear me curse about it in approximately 10 minutes.
It is eyelet lace. It is basic intro lace.
I know, that's why I'm going to screw it up and you'll hear about it in about 10 minutes.
Don't think you're better than the pattern designer. I mean, you are, just don't think it. You'll be fine. Being the pattern designer, I can assure you, you are capable of a lot more thought than I am. You just need to stop thinking you know how to do eyelet lace without thinking, because everybody has
Clearly I don't.
A little bit of thinking with eyelet lace. Not a lot, but a little. Just a smidge, ma'am. Just a smidge. So, all right, I'm done. Some of you may or may not know that Louise and I did a sweater challenge last month. We enjoyed chatting and checking in with each other live so much for those 2 weeks. We decided to make it a monthly check-in thing and work on some of our whips. To be fair, Louise has more whips than I think I have ever had in my life at any one given point in time, because she also does things like the New Start Mondays on Wildflower and Wool, which is her channel. So she has like 50 some odd whips floating around, she figures.
Mhm.
I don't. I got bigger projects on my needles because like I definitely have blankets and sweaters, and she's got like hats and mitts and fingerless gloves. Like she's got smaller projects on her needles. She just has a lot more of them, I guess. That's how we're gonna phrase that. So this coming Thursday, which is the 1st of April, we're gonna do our first monthly check-in. I set some pretty big goals for my first month. There were things I wanted to finish. I wanted to try to get a pair of socks done in a month. I proved the concept that I can do it, though I didn't complete it, and that was fine. I wanted to get my King's Flame done. That I got finished. So I'm very happy with that. The other thing I wanted to get done was my 8-bit sweater, because me and Diana Diana challenged me.
I did.
You love me an arbitrary challenge.
You'll note by the fact that I am not talking about it that it's sitting back there in the pile of shame. I threw down the challenge and then chickened out of my own challenge.
So now I'm going to guilt trip Diana, as only a friend can do, by picking up my 8-bit after leaving it alone for 2 weeks to give her time.
Mm-hmm. I've been given adequate time. I appreciate this.
You
You
punish
may proceed to grind me into the dust at my own challenge, yes.
Now I'm not going to slow down now. So I am going to work on my 8-bit sweater as we record. And before everybody goes, Jocelyn, you're not going to do a bind up, but you'll do color work. Listen, first off, this color works in a sport weight yarn. I can almost see that. And secondly, after knitting 2 sleeves, 3/4 of a 20-inch long body in all over color work, their intro chart, or chart B, is so ingrained in my head that yes, I am. I can work on chart B during battle scenes in Critical Role. I can work on chart B while having hard conversations with my family. I can chart B like nobody's business because it is not thinking knitting for me anymore. It's just go knitting. Like I don't sit here, I don't go, wow, where am I at? I go, nope, we're doing chart B, and I know exactly what's going on. And before I can start the dreaded center double decreases that make up the yoke of this pattern, I have to do 4 rounds of chart B. Cool.
Let's go.
Might as well get started on that because the chart is 3 rows long. And the chart I'm making is that tiny little square in the middle. That's chart B. It's a free pattern, guys. So I'm done my controller. I'm still at my yoke stage where I was last time, but we're so close. Like, Diana, you're so close.
I know. It's the fact that I have to rip it back. I know I just need to do it.
Do it and get it over with.
I'm going to do it after this, actually, is what's going to happen.
So I've
been guilted.
We're inside out. The sleeves are attached because I do everything inside out because I'm backwards. And I am now working my way through my yoke decreases. So finish my yoke decreases. Well, finish that inches you need before you start your yoke decreases. Do my yoke decreases and then ribbing. Yay, ribbing. And then I get to steek. Yee, I get to steek. It's gonna be so exciting. I mean, I'm excited. I know the rest of you are freaking for me, and that's good. I appreciate it.
I am freaking out on your behalf, cutting color work.
Yep,
Oh,
I
having
appreciate
heart palpitations already.
a massive, colossal disaster. Like, this could blow up in my face badly. Am I stressing about it? Nah, I've committed. We're gonna do it. We'll do it up, no problem. It'll either work or it won't.
In any case, it'll be a learning experience.
Either way, it's content. So that is what I'm going to be working on for the rest of the recording now that I'm done drinking my soup.
That's such a fun thing about podcasting. Like, even when something completely blows up in your face, content.
Content. Guys, I messed up the first sock in a pair of socks twice, and we're still talking about it. Which is probably why I'm not as angry as I would be if I was just like knitting for myself and not podcasting. Do you know how grumpy I would be? If I didn't have this for content, I'd be so mad at that sock. So mad at that sock. Oh, I also get to take out all of the stitch markers I have in here that designate the start of the pattern rounds, chart rounds,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm done that part.
Well, that reminds me, I finally found the rest of those stitch markers I was looking for the other day. I have to remember to put those with the project that I want them for now.
Yeah, the urge to cast on something is so strong right now. So strong right now. Don't be shocked if there's new projects next week, guys. And I don't mean socks. We obviously know I'm doing socks.
I think I'm gonna have to wind some yarn for some socks. I can
Uh,
see it in my own background. There's sock yarn there begging to be socks.
Yes, there is sock yarn there begging to be socks. That's how that works. But
I think
is
is
this
that the end of
fine? I'm done. I'm out.
Oh, okay.
I'm finished. Which means because I did not do any other hobbying this week. Did you do other hobbying this week?
Um I briefly entered the world of watercolor, which is why there's a red solo cup in the background there, was my water cup.
Okay.
It was all right. I reinstated my Skillshare account, not sponsored, and tried some watercolor, and
Listen, if they want to
it was
sponsor,
fun.
I promise I will do the ad.
I should not be allowed to do the ad. Yeah, no, it was it was a first attempt. I'm not going to show it. It's not good. It's better than I thought, but it's not good. And I had a lot of fun, so I'm going to do it again.
And I'm gonna go, you know what? Every time you try something new,
The
you
first one's never good. I know this. That's how it goes.
should suck at it because that's how you learn.
Yeah.
Good at
The
everything.
first one is absolute garbage fire. The second one is 100% better, still not great. And by the third one, you kind of look like you know what you're doing.
Okay. Okay. I took adult watercolor painting classes when I was 12, living up north. Because they aged me out of the kids stuff.
I've taken precisely no art courses unless paint nights count.
Paint nights count. They're adult painting.
Sure. Okay, so I've done approximately half a dozen paint nights.
Then you're good.
Um,
You're the basics.
the last like three of which with the instruction of Bob Ross on Netflix, not with an actual human because they were during the pandemic.
Listen, Bob Ross is a great teacher.
It really is.
He's a very good teacher.
It's slightly difficult to do it with dollar store acrylics when he's using artist quality oils. Some things don't work.
That's there is a time in your life where you have to admit that sometimes you have to pay money to get good stuff.
I got the low tier artist quality watercolor paints. I stepped up from the kids craft aisle and I got the
That's
like
a very good.
an actual artist could use these paints for watercolors.
That is a good place to. Well, it's because a lot of it will come down to that for something like if somebody was going to start knitting or crocheting, like you and I wouldn't recommend the most expensive yarn on the planet, but we also wouldn't recommend the budget yarns that are not good.
Yeah. There are budget yarns that are good,
There's a
but use the good ones.
use the good ones, and there's a wide variety of price ranges for them and fiber contents. Like you can find it in any sort of budget price range. That's easy enough to do. But you and I wouldn't recommend the Dollarama Craft Kids version of yarn for people to knit with.
No, I would not recommend dollar store craft cotton yarn as a good starting. That'll just make you very sad.
It'll make you hate
Right.
knitting in cotton, and it's not the cotton's fault.
Yeah.
So
That particular cotton is best for other things that are not knitting.
yes, yes, it's very good for some stuff. It's great for tying down Halloween decorations outside. Listen, everything relates back to Halloween, okay? I think it's good that you're trying new things. Everybody should try new things.
This week's my first attempt was buildings because they seem to fairly straightforward.
Sure.
They're straight lines. Turns out perspective is hard.
Perspective is hard.
And shading is also hard.
Yep. I would have gone with like the mountain scene with like trees in the background.
Yeah, this week is either going to be a galaxy or a flower.
Yeah, yeah, something that's more organic and flowy.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's where that's at. Maybe I'll show it next week if it actually turns out like something.
I'm excited. I have got a teenager on spring break next week, so I'm going to try to do some sewing because I've got slave labor. I mean, a willing helper. Will have nothing to do for spring break, so she will have all of the helping Annie Jocelyn stuff going on.
Excellent.
She wants to use my spinning wheel. She will be helping me with some sewing stuff. You should hear her swear at the spinning wheel. She is bound and determined to figure out how that works.
That's great. I love that.
It stresses my sister out. God, what if she damages your wheel? I'm like, I get it repaired. It's not the end of the world. It's just a wheel. I'm like, it
It's a
can be.
fairly solid bit of machinery. It'd be pretty hard to totally damage it.
I have a refurbished single treadle Ashford Traditional. I am not its first owner. It is, in fact, been through other owners. If it can't survive one teenager learning how to spin, it was not going to survive anyway. That's just how I look at it that way. So,
As long as you're not throwing it across the room, it'll be fine.
no, I get a lot of rope presented to me. Her twist factor is high. Try to get her to relax that a little if I can. But she's figured it out better than I have, and she's making more progress than I am on my own spinning wheel. So cool, cool. That's fine.
Sure, sure.
I just need an ego anyway. It only gets in the way. Oh, it does bring us to wool gathering, so it's time for the weekly Diana ad spot for Patreon.
Hey! Patreon is a method of financially supporting this insanity that you see before you, or hear before your ears, if you are an audio listener.
And we're off the rails.
I'll get it right one of these days. It'll be glorious and perfect once, and I won't write it down.
Yep.
And I was about to say it'll be lost forever, but no, it won't because it'll be recorded.
It will be recorded.
That'll be the week the recording glitches and it is lost forever.
Don't even.
Sorry.
Don't even.
No, just that chunk. Just my ad spot chunk.
Is your ad spot junk? Okay, fine.
Yeah. The rest of it'll be fine.
There'll be future editing Jocelyn going, oh, okay. I don't know what Diana did to curse the gods, but here we go.
There was a solar flare at that precise moment and affected the Zoom call recording servers.
There were.
Just that like one.
Just us.
Yeah, just us.
One precise moment.
Yeah, yeah.
That is a darn accurate solar flare.
You know, it caused some quantum disturbances and made a few bits flip, and it just corrupted that whole like 15-second portion.
That's because we forgot to reverse the polarity.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I knew we forgot to do something.
We've been watching Next Gen.
Just us. I have no
Sorry?
idea what we're talking about.
Technobabble. Okay. Let's stay on the rails this time. Patreon is a method of financially supporting this weirdness. There are 3 financial levels of support, if you will. All of them will get you access to bonus content, such as it is our Discord server, where we're probably most active. Jocelyn is most active. I just lurk. Let's be honest.
You are good at lurking.
I am a 5-star lurker.
You are a 5-star lurker. It is your pro skill set.
What's the other thing? Discord, bonus content. Oh, the Experimental Tuesday weekly blog posts.
Yep. You also get, I guess I would say like, you get the bonus content first. So not the weekly podcast, but extras that we put up. They always go there first for Patreon members, and then they go out to the public for everyone else.
Yes, early access to bonus content. That's what those are the words I wanted.
We have a monthly e-knitting.
Right. How did I forget that? That is literally the next thing on my show notes.
I don't know. All I know is I love the 2 to 4 hours we spend chatting with everybody, because it is a delightful Saturday afternoon hanging out and catching up with girlfriends.
It is. I enjoy it.
Friends. We just don't have any guys in the Discord right now. men can knit.
Absolutely. The next one of those is coming up on April the 17th at noon Manitoba time.
Mhm.
And as always, if you cannot financially support us, that is totally okay. Like, share, subscribe, talk about it, comment, engage with our content, make the algorithm happy, tell the algorithm that you like our content.
Like us. Goodness gracious. Only other things we've got in the admin news department is this is the last week for the podcast anniversary knit along. You have till the end of the month ish. The moderator, the great, the awesome, the wonderful Miss Asa, has been informed don't close the threads till Monday. Because that would be bad. So
It's ish.
it's ish. We'll close them, we'll draw. It won't, you likely will not see prizing next week, but the week after, because we'll record sometime during when roughly the things will get closed. So I won't worry about pulling till the second week in March. Because or April. Because the first, second, third, fourth is that Easter weekend, and nah. We'll just do it after that. Because I'm running the knit along, so I get to make these decisions arbitrarily. We don't do physical prizing anymore. We do e-pattern gifts. So if you enter and you are not a person who can use Ravelry, please, for the love of Georgia, tag us
Who's
on.
Georgia?
It's a country. It's also a state, or a city and a state. No, Georgia's a state.
Yeah.
Tag us on Instagram and let us know that that is your entry. And I will get a hold of you via Instagram Messenger. I will get a hold of you if you send us an email to the northernknitspodcast@gmail.com. If you are not a Ravelry user, totally understand. They have buttloads of accessibility problems right now. And they are not even remotely dealing with it like adults.
Responsibly.
Like, they're being poor humans. I can still use Ravelry, but it's always given me a headache. So I don't notice much of a difference. And I don't consider tiny tweaks that should have been there to start with, if you'd properly beta tested, fixing. I don't. So I don't get excited about, the things that mean nothing or no changes that look like changes. So I am absolutely okay gifting you an e-pattern from an Etsy shop or from, another designer that has their own web page, that a design that you like. I just need your entries so I know to put you into the draws. Because if I don't have them, I don't know. I will pull from the Ravelry thread for the finished objects. That is a thing that will happen because I know there are people who can still use Ravelry, and you will get a gift. I won't message you and go, hey, you won, what pattern do you want? I will stalk you lightly on the internet, go into your wish list category of patterns, and just buy one for you. No muss, no fuss, super easy. Make sure you have a wish list so I can gift you a prize. And if you're not on Ravelry, make sure I am aware that you have done a thing for the podcast so I know to put your name in the draw. These are important. The bonus to not doing physical gifts that we have purchased ourselves to give to you guys is that I get to give more gifts. And that is because the Patreons fund the prizing. So rather than one prize for one person, because that's about $60 to $70, I can give out 4 to 5 e-patterns, depending on the price of the e-pattern.
And you get them faster and guaranteed.
We don't have to worry about nothing. It shows up and you're good to go. And then you can choose your yarn and you're off to the races. So that's how we've done it. We love it. We're going to stick with that. That's our preferred method. So that is one of those. Again, this is heads up, guys. I need you to tell me where you have put your finished object photos. I am not a god. I keep trying. They won't let me in. There's too much paperwork. I don't get it all filed in time. So I simply need to be made aware. Apparently I'm too mortal. Rude.
Jeez.
Rude. So that's going on and finishing up. Our next knit along will start for the 1st of July. We'll start talking about details for that probably in May. So everyone's got time to get geared up and get ready. Other than that, we don't have a ton on our plate as we move into sort of that spring summer season. I am obviously going to be jumping on all the bandwagons for all the cows I won't finish on time because that is what I love to do. That is my favorite. Brings me great joy. And on this coming Thursday, you can catch me live chatting with Louise on her YouTube channel, Wildflower and Wool, at 7:30 Ontario time. Listen, she calls me at 6:30 my time. Whatever time that is in your time zone, at 6:30 Manitoba time. I can't. Time zones are hard.
It'll be 7:30 Eastern or
Like 4:30 Pacific.
4:30 Pacific. Yeah.
Cool beans. In which case, I have books. I don't know if you know this, but I read.
I watch a lot of Critical Role.
Listen, dust of deliciousness. I was waiting for that text. I've been waiting for that text for weeks. Tome Topple wraps up at midnight tonight. I'm not getting another tome finished. I am not finishing another 500-page book in like a day.
Slacker.
Not happening. Not
Slacker.
happening.
Slacker.
Screw you. I've completed over 1,780 some odd pages of reading in 2 weeks. How much reading have you done?
So what books have you been reading?
I see you. Literally, because I'm looking at the screen, not the camera. I finished Narcissus in Chains by Laurel K. Narcissus in Chains by Laurel K. Hamilton, which is the next in the reread that I'm doing for the Anita Blake Vampire Hunter series. I enjoy the series. I read it before. It is delightful. It is crazy. We're at the part now where there's adult sexy fun times, along with the murder, the violence, and the monsters.
That just hits all the genres.
It's all the genres. There's a bit of horror, there's murder mystery, there's crime solving. It's all mashed up in there. And at this point, it's a hot mess, and I love it. So super happy. Next up for me is Cerulean Sins. So I'm gonna have to track down an audio version of that one. Whatever, that's fine. I also finished, because we knew I'd diverge. Remember how last week I said I probably was going to drop everything and read Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind?
Mm-hmm.
I dropped everything and read Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind. I like nonfiction. I like learning.
I am seeing if that's unscribed right this very second.
I also love the fact that the author made it sound like we became the dominant species on the planet and then became domesticated by wheat, barley, rice, and potatoes. That was
summary of.
Made the argument that the agricultural revolution, when it occurred, was because we discovered that if we grew crops, it was a source of food. But barley wasn't a good choice. Wheat wasn't a good choice. Potatoes were not a good choice. They're picky. We had to clear rocks for them. We had to cut down trees for them. We had to make the soil the way they wanted it. We had to water them the way they wanted it. We had to plant them when they wanted to be planted. So technically, my Overlord is the potato. So like I feel oh my god.
I think that's the episode title.
Potato is my Overlord. I feel is a very good episode title. So, like, all hail the potato! Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind. I am so sorry, I cannot pronounce the author's name. Diana went,
It'll be linked in the show notes. We spelled it out. I have no idea.
Nope. There is no way for me to do that and not absolutely butcher this poor human's name, and they deserve way better than that. A delightful read, very good. I'm not going to say, like, read it like I did, which was, like, for 9 hours a day. Unless you have taken some archaeology courses in university or deep into sort of, like, the prehistory of man or in, like, industrial, like, unless you've hardcore studied university level history, I'm going to say break that down. Or you've read, like, all of the history books that you can get out of the library in the nonfiction section, or you've read all the big titles out of the bookstore, because it's there's a lot of info in it. Like, a lot of the information they were giving me, I've already heard before, I've already processed and thought about and talked and discussed. So I wasn't sitting there going, oh my god, that's amazing, I didn't know that before. I was going, I love how you made that connection. I love how you got from point A to point B, and where you went in the middle was delightful. Because it'd be like you reading a nonfiction book that's quite heavy in technical jargon for computer science. I would have to break that down into smaller chunks. You could probably do it all in one go because it would be less dense for you, if that makes sense.
It does indeed make sense. Why have I split this yarn? How have I split this yarn? Why is this
Because you're making
not... This is me cursing about trying to do lace, by the way.
Yeah, well, you warned us it was going to happen, so it's fair.
Yeah.
So that was my big drop everything and read book. Super delightful. I really do recommend people read it. It's very well done. I obviously listened to it because I listen to almost all my books. That's how that works for me. So with Sapiens and Narcissus in Chains, that put me at 3 or 4 finished tomes. I think 3 finished tomes for Tome Topple, which was just shy of 1,800 pages. No, a little more than just shy. It was like 1,780 something pages. So that was fine. I have picked Starless back up by Jacqueline Carey. I obviously will not finish it in time for Tome Topple to be done, but I am making my way through that. And now that we've gotten through that sort of opening 2-chapter info-ish dump, where they sort of set up the main character and you start to travel on his journey, I'm super delighted. This universe has no stars, but gods actually walk the earth. Like, legit.
Interesting.
Walk the earth. It's so cool. So I'm very excited to see where it goes. I was listening to that the other night, so I've fully sunk into that world, so that'll be good. I'm hoping to finish that this week. I will obviously get distracted by other books, but that's fine. That's how that works. I have to be at 50 books by July to make my 100-book goal by the end of the year for Goodreads. And I have this thing with books over 500 pages. I got a lot of them on my to-read piles, I've discovered. Apparently, we're in read big book mode. That usually changes in the summertime, and it turns into read all of the super cheesy romance books. So we're almost there. Almost there, people. But that's it. I feel like 3 finished books over 500 pages is sufficient.
Entirely. Yeah. So I watched a lot of Critical Role, and I'm not quite done Disfigured.
Disfigured's a good book.
It's so good. I have thought about so many things these last 2 weeks that I've been reading it, and so many thoughts.
So it's just, I love how they just sort of sit there, the book sit there and it goes, okay, you need to stop and we need to contemplate this as a whole, because there are still huge gaps in what we're teaching the next generation, what we've been taught, and we need to correct it so the next generation doesn't have the same issues. They can have different issues. They can have another thing that they can go fix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's like, yeah.
The other thing that broke me a little bit, because the author was explaining her illness, cerebral palsy, illness, proper term?
Her disorder, her disability.
Okay. And various things that can cause it, one of which is getting the umbilical cord wrapped very tightly around your neck during the birthing process and partially suffocating.
Yeah.
That happened to me.
Yeah.
How supremely close to an extremely different life was I that I just had no concept. I had to pause it. I think I was doing the dishes at the time and I had to stop what I was doing, pause that, and just
excuse me, what?
How close was I to something totally different from this moment? It's like one of those tilt shift zoom things where the background swooshes around you and just oh shit. But read Disfigured.
Read Disfigured. It's important. What do you want, quadruped? It's not 6. Meow. Meow. Meow.
Oh, I can hear her.
You're not getting fed early. Meow.
But Mom,
you're not starving to death. See the arguments I get?
Still not as loud as some of my coworkers' cats.
She is a freaking quiet cat. She is the quietest cat I have ever owned in my life. All right. Are we done with books?
Yeah, I think that's it. I think we're done.
Well then, you want to say bye? Bye. Bye, says Cat.
Nope.
Which Cat
Not interested.
doesn't care. Till next week, I'll say I'm Jocelyn.
And I'm Diana.
No matter where your week takes you.
Don't forget to knit.
Wave bye, Diana, Cat. Wave bye.
Bye,
Don't bite.
kitty.